Have you ever been so trapped in your own head, overthinking every possible outcome, that you couldn't even take the first step? That paralysis where you imagine every way something could go wrong, playing out disaster after disaster in your mind until you're frozen? Today we're diving into a powerful Zen story about a master calligrapher who faced the ultimate blank page, a scroll for the emperor, and became so paralyzed by overthinking that she couldn't make a single stroke. What a Zen master taught her with a cup of spilled tea will show you how to escape the prison of your own thoughts and finally take action. This isn't just about ink and paper. It's about why we overthink, why it feels like fear, and how to silence the voice in your head that keeps you stuck. Aiko was a calligrapher of renowned skill. Her brushstrokes praised throughout the province for their perfect balance of strength and grace. Magistrates sought her work for important documents. Temple abbots commissioned scrolls for sacred ceremonies. Her reputation was flawless. Yet, her talent became a prison on the day she received the emperor's commission to write a single, auspicious character, Mua, emptiness, on a large, pristine scroll of rice paper, a gift for the imperial collection. The paper was rare, imported from the northern provinces. The ink was costly, made from pine soot, aged for decades. And the consequence of failure? A disgrace she could not bear to contemplate. She prepared her studio with meticulous care. The inkstone was ground to a deep, lustrous black. The brush was her finest, each hair perfectly aligned. The scroll lay before her, vast and white, seeming to absorb all the light in the room. Aiko sat in position, her brush poised above the paper, and then her mind began its relentless work. What if the first stroke is too heavy, too light? What if my hand trembles? What if the ink bleeds into the fibers wrong? What if the emperor sees it and finds it crude? What if this ruins my reputation? What if everyone discovers I'm not as skilled as they think? She visualized the stroke. Then she visualized it again, and again. Each time, her mind found new flaws, new disasters, new reasons to hesitate. She tried to move her brush, but her mind was already 10 strokes ahead, imagining failure at each one. The angle must be perfect. The pressure must be exact. There can be no hesitation in the line. But what if there is? What if hours passed? The sun moved across the floor. The ink on her brush began to dry. Her mind had painted the character 1,000 times and ruined it 1,001. Still, the scroll remained blank. The only mark on the paper was the shadow of her unmoving hand. She was trapped in the prison of her own thinking. Master Dogen entered the room, his presence like a quiet pool of stillness. He observed the blank scroll, the frozen calligrapher, the rigid posture of someone fighting a battle entirely in their own mind. He did not ask about the scroll. He did not speak of calligraphy or the emperor. He simply walked to a low table where a small cup of tea sat cooling. He picked up the cup and, with a slow, deliberate motion, poured the entire contents onto the polished wooden floor. The dark liquid spread quickly, soaking into the grain, leaving a stain that could not be undone. Aiko gasped, "Master, the tea! You've ruined the floor!" Dogen turned to her, his eyes calm as a windless pond. "Tell me, Aiko, before I poured this tea, how many times did I think about pouring it?" She blinked, confused. I don't know, Master. 0 times. I simply poured." He gestured to the stain spreading across the wood. "And now it is done. The tea is spilled. The stain exists. Was I afraid before I poured it? No, but did I imagine all the ways the tea might spill incorrectly? Did I rehearse the perfect pouring technique in my mind? Did I worry about the stain it would leave? No, Master. Then why are you doing this with your brush?" Aiko's breath caught in her throat. Dogen knelt beside her. "Aiko, tell me, what are you doing right now?" I'm trying to write the character, Master." "No. You are not writing. You are thinking about writing. You have painted this character 1,000 times in your mind, and not once on the paper. Which one is real?" Aiko looked at the blank scroll, then at her brush. "The paper is real. And your 1,000 imagined strokes, where are they? Nowhere. They're only in my mind." "Precisely." Dogen's voice became gentle but penetrating. "You are trapped in overthinking. Your mind is trying to live the stroke before your hand makes it. You are trying to control the future by thinking it into perfection. But thinking is not doing. Imagining is not creating. He pointed to the stain on the floor. When I poured the tea, did my thinking make the stain? Or did the pouring make the stain? The pouring master. And when you make your stroke, will your thinking make the character? Or will your brush make the character? Aiko felt something crack open inside her. The brush will make it. Then stop thinking and start doing. But master, Aiko whispered, I keep seeing all the ways it could go wrong, every mistake, every flaw. I feel afraid. No. Dogen's voice was firm but kind. You are not afraid. Fear is for the tiger that leaps at your throat. Fear is for the fire that burns your house. Is the scroll attacking you? Aiko shook her head. Then you do not fear it. What you are experiencing is this. You overthink the stroke, imagining every way it could fail. This overthinking creates worry, anxiety about a future that doesn't exist. The worry feels so intense, so real in your body, that you mistake it for fear. But there is no tiger. There are only your thoughts. Trapped in an endless loop, he tapped her forehead gently. The enemy is not out there. The enemy is in here. The mind that will not stop rehearsing, predicting, imagining. The mind that lives everywhere except the present moment. Dogen stood and looked at the blank scroll. You know what your mind has been doing? It has been trying to paint the perfect stroke. But perfection exists only in imagination. It is not real. The real stroke, the one your hand will make, will simply be what it is. Imperfect, alive, true. The only way to escape overthinking is to stop feeding it. You cannot think your way out of overthinking. You can only act your way out. Something profound shifted in Aiko's understanding. She had been trying to create the stroke in her mind first, as if thinking about it perfectly would guarantee a perfect result. But Master Dogen's spilled tea showed her the truth. The thinking and the doing were completely separate. No amount of thinking about pouring tea changes how the tea pours. No amount of imagining the stroke changes how the brush moves. The overthinking wasn't preparation. It was prison. She looked at the brush in her hand. Just a brush. Wood and hair. She looked at the paper. Just paper. Fibers and space. The 1,000 imagined disasters. They existed nowhere but in her mind. And her mind was not the master. Her hand was. Aiko took a deep breath. She let go of the perfect stroke she'd been trying to think into existence. She let go of the emperor's judgment. She let go of controlling the outcome. She felt only what was real, the weight of the brush, the texture of the paper, the coolness of the air. And then, without thinking, she moved. The brush descended. Ink met paper. The first line of Mu began. It was not the line she had imagined. The beginning was slightly thicker than she'd pictured in her 1,000 mental rehearsals. But it was real. It was alive. It carried the energy of a hand that was moving, not a mind that was spinning. She continued, stroke after stroke, not thinking 3 strokes ahead, not imagining how it would look when finished. Just this stroke, this moment, this breath. The blank scroll, once a mirror of her anxiety, became simply a surface receiving ink. The overthinking, denied the fuel of hesitation, dissolved like morning mist in sunlight. When she finished, she set down her brush and looked at the character. It was not the perfection she had imagined during those paralyzed hours, but it was true. It was present. It existed. Master Dogen nodded. Now you understand. The thinking steals the moment. The doing creates it. The story of Aiko and the spilled tea reveals a profound truth about the prison of overthinking. Overthinking is the mind's attempt to control the future by rehearsing it endlessly in the present. It feels like preparation, like being careful, like being smart. But it's actually paralysis dressed up as planning. Here's what happens. You overthink, imagining every possible outcome, rehearsing every scenario. This creates worry, anxiety about all the futures you're imagining. The worry feels like fear. Your body responds as if the imagined disaster is real. You become paralyzed, unable to act because your mind won't stop spinning. But as Master Dogen showed Aiko, thinking is not doing, imagining is not creating. He didn't think about spilling the tea, he simply poured it. The action happened, the result appeared. Done. Aiko had painted the character 1,000 times in her mind and 0 times on paper. Which one was real? Which one mattered? The brutal truth? Overthinking doesn't make you better prepared. It just makes you stuck. You're not planning, you're spiraling. You're not being careful, you're being paralyzed. You're rehearsing disasters that haven't happened instead of taking actions that could succeed. You cannot think your way out of overthinking. More analysis won't solve the problem of too much analysis. The only escape is action, not perfect action, not guaranteed action, just action. As Dogen taught, stop thinking and start doing. The stroke you make will never match the perfect stroke in your imagination, because imagination deals in fantasy, and reality deals in what is. But the real stroke, imperfect as it may be, will actually exist. The imagined perfect stroke exists nowhere. Perfection is the bait. Overthinking is the trap. Action is the key. So what blank scroll is sitting in front of you right now? What have you been overthinking? What decision have you been rehearsing 1,000 times in your mind without making? What action have you been imagining instead of taking? Is it a business idea you keep planning but never starting? A conversation you keep rehearsing but never having? A project you keep perfecting in your mind but never beginning? An email you've rewritten mentally 50 times but haven't sent? Here's your practice. 1. Notice the loop. I'm overthinking this. 2. Name what's real. What is the actual action here, stripped of all the imagined outcomes? 3. Make the first stroke. Do the smallest possible version of the action. Send the imperfect email. Have the imperfect conversation. Write the imperfect first sentence. The tea will spill how it spills. The stroke will land how it lands. But you won't know until you stop thinking and start doing. Remember, the 1,000 perfect strokes in your imagination are worth less than 1 imperfect stroke on the page. If this story helped you recognize your own overthinking trap, I want to hear from you. What's the one thing you've been overthinking instead of doing? Name it in the comments below. Sometimes just naming it breaks the spell. And here's the challenge. Make your first stroke today. Even if it's imperfect, even if it's messy. Take one small action on the thing you've been stuck on. Then come back and tell us how it went. If you want more ancient wisdom to help you escape modern mental traps, like this video, subscribe to Tales by Cathie and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next transformation story. Remember Aiko's lesson. You can't think your way to the finish line. You can only act your way there, one stroke at a time. Thank you for watching. Now stop overthinking this video and go make your first stroke. I'll see you in the next story.